had cancer, and I realized that a lot of the ways that I was going about trying to be healthy was just to look healthy, and then really took my health into my own hands, and I insisted on an MRI because my blood tests would come back weird, and my gut tests, and my hormone tests. It was just like year after year after year and trying to figure this out, not understanding why things weren't working.
Have you ever felt like something was off in your body? You knew something was wrong, but the doctors kept telling you that everything was fine? Well, that's exactly what happened to today's guest, Cameron Mathison. You may know him from General Hospital, Entertainment Tonight, or the holiday Hallmark movies. But what you probably don't know is that he pushed for one more test after 2 years of knowing and telling his doctors that something was off. And that MRI revealed kidney cancer that had been growing for years. And that his specific kidney cancer was the most alarming side effect of a medication that he was only supposed to take for a few weeks, but a doctor had kept him on for 12 years. Cancer was just one major challenge Cameron has had to face in his lifetime. And today, we learn how all of these challenges shaped him into the man he is today and led him to true health, vitality, and optimal energy. And like many, his pain led to purpose. And we talk about his new company, Health 360, and its ability to help people like him get to root causes of disease and shift their chronic issues through functional health coaching. I'm excited to share his story and his new purpose and passion with you because I know it will inspire hope and offer solutions to so many of you. All right, Cameron.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. You kidding me? Yeah, it's great to be here.
This is so fun. We're going to dive in with some rapid fire questions.
Good.
You're like a superstar actor. What was your favorite role that you've ever played?
I think were you supposed to book somebody else today? Because I don't know how you ended up with me. My favorite role that I've ever played was probably, that's a really tough one, but there was a Christmas movie I made. It was called The Christmas Ornament. The guy, his name was Tim. He had a Christmas tree farm. And he was just the happiest guy in the world and surrounded by Christmas, and he made other people happy. It was just such a fun part. So that's the first thing that popped in my mind. So I'm going with that.
I love it, Tim.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Tim's Trees.
Tim's Trees. And then you have your role on General Hospital.
Yes.
Who's not so happy or not so loved.
No, but I love playing it. It's a really nice challenge. So I played Drew on General Hospital. That he's a nightmare. He's a complete douchebag. He's a dick. He's not a great guy at all. And that's new for me for 3 decades in this business. And I've never played anybody so despicable. And it's kind of fun. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, we all have those parts inside of us, right?
It's almost kind of therapeutic in a weird way. Probably not, but
yeah, you can let the shadow side be.
Yeah. Just let that out and just see what happens. And everybody's kind of like, whoa.
Wow.
Cameron, where did that come from? So I was I don't know. I gotta take a little look at that.
I need to start watching General Hospital.
I got some more work I need to do.
You have experienced a lot of challenge in your life, which is, I mean, it's wild actually how much you've faced and overcome. What was the most difficult thing you've ever gone through?
Well, the one thing that was probably the most difficult. So I've gone through cancer journey and very, very scary cancer journey. Then my mom had cancer. She passed away. Then I lost my job at that time. And then after 22 years of marriage, really sort of tricky conditions that happened in that marriage fell apart. And then my kids left for college, and then my house burned down. And I lost every piece of evidence of my existence within a very short period of time. But in there, and something that I don't talk about, I know we talked about is anything off limits and stuff, but I'll talk around what it is. Somebody very, very, very near and dear to me, probably one of the closest people in the world to me, almost died with an experience of drugs that we never saw coming. And it was the scariest, most challenging thing to see somebody that you are so close to and love so much just start to disappear. You lose that person. That person started to really just become lost and gone. And there was, there's really not a whole lot that anybody can do about it. And because of my, connection relationship with that person, it was probably the hardest out of all of it. And I've been through some tough things.
Yeah. Not to mention the hip stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, that was many years ago. When I was a kid, I had a degenerative bone disease. in the head of both my femur bones that it's called leg calf Perthes disease. And so I didn't walk until I was 7. I wore a very large and odd metal A-frame brace on my legs that kept my legs out in this very, very wide stance, rigid, up on these little platforms with these special shoes, a crutch in back and a crutch in front. And that's how I walked. And I wore it when I slept. I wore it during the day. We had to get a special car to kind of ship me around because it was very odd and very loud when I walked, and very, I mean, even to this day, I've never seen anything quite like it. So it was, yeah, that was
And
it was
as
a
a
big
kid,
deal.
and
As a
like
kid, I mean, can you
bullies,
imagine
and
how you would be as a mom? Like at the time, you're sort of focused on dealing with it or whatever. But as I got older, I was like, my parents had to deal with this. Like, I mean, it would be so painful and so hard. And yeah, and from my perspective, all the bullies, all the moms telling their kids not to stare, and and you're that person. And at that pivotal age, which I know, you've talked a lot about in different forms, that it's a really emotionally formative series of years. So you start to create this idea and identity of yourself, or at least I did. I shouldn't speak in generals, but I did, where you're, and I'll use not a PC term, but that's, like I was the crippled kid. I was the problem. I was the freak. And you kind of, that at that age, it becomes your identity. Because, there wasn't a lot of pictures. There was not, my parents didn't take a lot of pictures of me at that age. Moms would be like telling their kids not to stare, be bullied, be a freak. And then through those years, and then not being able to sleep because you're like on your back with this break. So just trauma, it was actually emotionally, mental health wise, like very, very traumatic. And it's been a little bit of a lifelong kind of journey for me to really reprogram that identity, and sometimes I would do it in a very unhealthy way when I was younger. And
for example,
well, for
just
example,
overcompensating once
no,
you've
of course, no, yeah. For example, I needed, in a sense, I had this need, this underlying need that I was aware of, to be known for something else, like to be known for being athletic, or to be known for being beautiful, or to be known for being, not saying that I'm either, but that was the drive, or famous. I was in engineering school, and I did very, very well in civil engineering, and I was going on to get my MBA, and I stumbled into the business that I'm in now, very sort of backdoor kind of way, and I kind of gave that all up because it was like this hit of recognition and validation. And I didn't know it, and my parents were like, wait, what are you doing? And so, to be completely honest, and it's sort of embarrassing to admit, but the whole reason I went into the direction of the career that I'm in now, that has been so great, and I'm super grateful, and I've been very fortunate, but the whole reason was probably for that little kid.
I mean, understandably so.
Like to fill that, I don't want to say void, but to really kind of, heal that kind of identity of being
broken.
Yeah.
Not
like getting the attention. And I was like, wait, what? I can be a model. I can be, on TV, like be known for something else. And it's, and
adored rather than,
and it drove me in an unhealthy way.
I don't know.
There's other ways too, but I don't know how much time you want to.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I've gotten to know you before this interview, and the amount of challenges you've overcome is mind-blowing. Just that alone as a child. And so I'm like, thank God you have many blessings for all your success, because for any kid that's gone through something like that, it's, for you to overcome and end up so healthy and successful is really awesome. And the challenges with your health didn't stop there. And we're going to talk about the cancer journey, because you look at you now, and me understanding your lifestyle and what you post on social, it's hard for us to imagine that you got diagnosed but I love stories of overcoming, and I love how now you're the pillar of health, much healthier than you were in your 20s, and it's led you to start 360 Health.
Yes. Health 360, you came so close. That's so good.
I literally butcher it every time.
No, it's so good.
Easy.
It's okay. It's like, I mean, like I'm like the only guy who, me and like 5 people can get it right. Yeah. But Yeah, no, it's very true that I think there's a lot of I think that people can relate to trying to achieve aesthetic goals, or trying to be healthy because you're following certain information and things and trying to do it. And then if you're like me, you'll go to extremes in order, if a little bit's good, a lot is even better. And almost with nothing, that's the case. Moderation is always the way to go. And I went to extremes, and I really did try to push myself and become this kind of healthy person, even though I was really wrecking my body and becoming more and more unhealthy through the years, and going to this extreme diets, extreme workouts, and not eating, the right foods and things. And in many ways, just following what I would see people do and try to learn. And that went on for a very long time until, to your point, but also I'll say this, there's other factors that led to my cancer, and that was taking prescriptions. That was a prescription for acid reflux that was meant for a short acute treatment. Because so you take medication for acid reflux, you're treating the symptom. You're not treating the root cause at all. But sometimes that's important. You don't want acid coming up in your esophagus. And so anyway, I was prescribed that for 12 years. And it just wreaked havoc on my gut and on my kidney and on my liver. And there's this specific medication that has got a direct correlation with one type of cancer, and it's kidney cancer. And so I make up, obviously you can't really prove causal, but I make up that was a big factor too. And anyway, so I went through life, and I had cancer after a while, and I realized that a lot of the ways that I was going about trying to be healthy was just to look healthy, oftentimes for the wrong reasons we talked about, but and then really took my health into my own hands, and I insisted on an MRI because my blood tests would come back weird, and my gut tests, my hormone tests. It was just like year after year after year of going to the best doctors and trying to heal myself and trying to figure this out and not understanding why things weren't working. And then I started working with a functional health coach. So it's essentially the ideology of functional medicine incorporated with other aspects of your life, like looking at testing and hormone balancing, looking at nutrition, looking at training modalities, and then having this concierge aspect to it where you've got somebody there that you check in with regularly, looking at your lifestyle changes and your supplements, your peptide therapy, your hormone replacement therapy, and monitoring these things and checking in with them every week. And that's what functional health coaching was about. And that time when I started working with a functional health coach, it literally changed the way I felt, the way I looked, how healthy I was, how I was able to do a lot of things that I'd been struggling with for decades, in such a short amount of time. It blew me away. And I worked with a coach for now different coaches, but same idea for 4 years until I partnered with Vital Coaching to start Health 360 because I believe in it so much and I just want to scream it from the rooftops and help people because I see how hard people are trying and how many mistakes are being made out there to try to achieve these kind of health and physique goals that ultimately might work for a little while or when we're younger. And then you plateau and you're like, oh, I guess I got to cut more calories and do more cardio. And then that works for a little while. But what we don't realize, or other versions of that we don't realize, is it just really messes up things like hormones and thyroid function and gut health and cortisol levels and chronic inflammation and all sorts of things that over time, when you're younger or whatever, you can get away with like I did, but then you can't. And it catches up to you. And so that we go to that root cause and we really try to heal people from the inside out. And at the same time, the physique comes along with it, which doesn't hurt. But it's been a really, really great journey, and it's kind of cool to be on this side of it.
I mean, you're sitting here, just anyone go to your Instagram and you can see like how effective.
I'll say this. Kelly is so sweet because we've been friends for a little bit now, and I'll post something and then she'll just send me a little message giving me some encouragement about like, hey, you're so sweet to take the time to do that. But I and then, people comment about posting these shirtless pictures and stuff. But, when I do that, it's 99% of it is trying to show the effectiveness of this sort of functional health coaching transformation.
Yeah. So give us the picture for people that follow you, and if you don't, anybody listening should follow you, just for daily motivation of getting 12-pack abs. But no, but truly, you like glow from the inside out. You can tell that you are feeling great. You're not just like in the gym pumping iron, like you're doing it from the inside out in the best way. And I love this functional health coaching because it really does need to be personalized.
Yes.
And you really do need to get the levels and check under the hood.
Yeah.
We can't just mimic what someone's doing on Instagram or TikTok or whatever people are watching these days, because we have different levels of inflammation, our hormones, like our environments, our cultures, our diet, all of that stuff. So I love what you're launching and creating and continuing to shout from the rooftops. But give us a contrast of what you looked like before, felt like, and I'm also curious how you healed cancer, like how you healed.
It's a good point, because people would see me in my early days. Like I worked as an actor on All My Children and stuff, and I was known. My nickname on that show, Kelly, was Snaps, because my shirts all had snaps for quick removal. Like I was kind of known as that guy. So, but that's when I was.
So you've always had a great physique.
No. I mean, I'll go back even further. My nickname on my college basketball team was Grover, because I had a pot belly and skinny arms and skinny legs like Grover.
Oh my God.
Like it really was. Like that's like. People say, oh, you got the genetics. I was like, you want to see some old pictures? Like,
we're going to need to see some photos.
Yeah, you don't believe me. So I worked really hard in probably many unhealthy ways to achieve that physique. But then, so to your point, as time went on and you keep doing that for a while, what used to work stops working, because it's not in a sustainable way. If you're just kind of going to these extremes and you're not incorporating things like rest and recovery and lifestyle changes and proper nutrition and also varying your nutrition, like diet variation is a very big thing for gut microbiome and things like that. Proper working out, having it, there's all these different things. If you're not, just incorporating them on some level, eventually going to extremes and doing these things like stops working. So this is what it would look like, is that now I'm 56 years old.
Wow.
About 195, 196 pounds. I've got, less than 10% body fat. And when I was doing these things, I was younger, so your metabolism is revved up even higher or whatever. And I was probably about 176, 180 pounds, inability to put on muscle. Yes, I was lean because I was following these kind of fad diets and protocols and stuff. That would get me lean for a little while, and then they wouldn't, and I would go to another one and just kind of bouncing around. And so how it's changed, I'm just talking physique now. So how it's changed physique wise is I've been able to put on muscle. And as we know, muscle is such a key for longevity and aging well, is to be able to be in there and resistance train and build muscle in your body, especially lower body. So I've been able to put on the muscle. I've been able to, basically upregulate my metabolism, which makes it a lot easier to stay lean. That's what people don't realize, that by cutting calories and doing too much cardio chronically will absolutely downregulate your metabolism, which means it becomes like this new norm. That's your ground zero now. Once you kind of get used to that caloric intake and that amount of output, your metabolism will adjust, and then you're there. And then if you have a regular day of eating or something, you're going to blow up. You go on vacation for 5 days, and the people don't get why they gained 8 pounds.
Because you deprive yourself until your metabolism slows.
Oh, chronically. Like, obviously if you do it for a little while, it's very helpful, fast for a little bit, incorporate some fat. But when you do it over time, yes, your metabolism slows down and just, what we call down regulating. So I've been able to put on muscle, stay lean, have energy, healthy gut, cortisol eased, although I still work on that. Thyroid function has been upregulated as well. All my inflammation. I'll give you one example. So when I was at my unhealthiest but looking good, I had about 30 food sensitivities. I had seasonal allergies, like many of us. I was massively allergic to cats and things like that. If I had some food that wasn't working with me, I would start wheezing and coughing, and I had an inhaler, and sometimes it was tough for me to sleep because of this. So I literally had all these things. I realized without even thinking about it, about 2 years into working with a functional health coach, it's all gone. I have no allergies. I'm not allergic to cats. I'm not allergic. I have no seasonal allergies. I have no food sensitivities. I still stay away from gluten just because, generally that's not great for most people. zero, obviously, asthma or need of inhaler. It's like these are just side effects of things like your immune system becoming balanced and upregulated, healing things like hormones or balancing hormones, healing your gut, um, easing your cortisol so your body, like work looking at blood sugar. I haven't talked a lot about monitoring and watching your blood sugar and blood pressure. These are all things that once you start to kind of get used to looking at, seems like a lot right now, but with a coach, they're on top of it and they can just make these minor little changes and then your body starts working more optimally. And that's where peptides come in too, to help your body function more optimally. And then all of a sudden the inflammation falls off. You start sleeping better, your stress levels come down. And my immune system has been a disaster my whole life, getting sick all the time, struggling with this, that, and the other thing. Even in my blood work, the whole reason that I wanted to go in to get tested for cancer is because my white blood cell count was so low. Now my immune system is super balanced, right where it needs to be. All of these things just kind of like happen naturally. You have more energy, good sex drive, you feel like strong, when that happens, it just makes you want to help others do the same thing. So,
Yeah. Well, now I'm listening to you. I'm like, oh God, I mean, I need to. I'm very blessed because I have done, but I do phone it in because I do have good genes, but I also have taken enough care of myself that I can like wander off the path, and I do eat gluten and I do eat dairy, and there's a lot of things I can clean up and like raise optimization. And now that as you're talking, I'm like, I got to do this.
But you'll know when you'll know that you listen to your body. It's great, obviously, to do it preventatively. That's what we're all about. But at the same time, like we've talked about it. When you cut this out of your diet or your life, or this out, and like you just know it's time to try that, and because you feel it or you need it.
Yeah,
I'm here for you.
Okay,
I got you. Yeah.
All right. So cancer, how did you navigate that? And you're through here, glowing, smiling. I love your story because so many people, I mean, just sharing about the food sensitivities and even the degenerative disease as a child, like you literally are the pillar of health. And so with the right solution, with the right support, with the right mindset and faith, which we'll get into in a second, you could really, I believe, turn around almost anything.
I think you're absolutely right. And I kind of feel like there's many people out there to kind of prove it, and like to think of myself as one, but so one of the things that we do at Health 362 is that's open to people is this genetic testing, so you can see what your genes are sort of predisposed to, and that's you can manipulate that a little bit, but oftentimes it's pretty set. And one of the things that I find out later is that I'm not great at detoxification. I'm not great at my kidney function, my liver function, things that some of the things that we need for detoxification just genetically aren't great, as well as autophagy. That's where fasting comes in. So, that over time, plus what I mentioned about this medication that I was on that's correlated with kidney cancer, other people will take that medication and be just fine because maybe they're detoxifying better. I clearly have trouble with
12 years.
that. Yeah,
12 years on this.
For that 12 years on this 1 month medication.
Side effect shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a...
Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. And by the way, like, they're just doing what they've been taught. I went into that. I'm sorry to get segue. I went into that doctor who continued to prescribe me the medication for acid reflux, and I was so confused because the symptoms were getting worse. So I'm taking the medication, but it was getting worse
because over time your body adapts and becomes more acidic.
Well,
because
it's an acid blocking medication, and the truth is about 90% of acid reflux comes from not enough acid in your stomach to digest your food properly, allowing the food to be undigested in there, causing a fermentation and a bacterial overgrowth, which causes distension, discomfort, and also the pressure to blow your esophageal valve open, letting much needed acid into your esophagus. So you take the medication for anti-acid medication, blocking that acid. So over time, I was just basically blocking any kind of acid production in my stomach.
What you need.
And so the root cause was getting worse by taking this medication because I'm continuing to block acid, not digesting food fermenting in your gut, bacterial overgrowth, causing pressure, esophageal valve not closing properly. There's other reasons why that can happen, but that's one of them. And then acid coming up. And so I went to the doctor and I said, listen, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why it's getting worse. And I said, I've been doing a lot of research, and I see that there's a lot of people that heal their acid reflux with diet and lifestyle changes. And he said to me, he looked me in the eye, he goes, trying to heal acid reflux with diet and lifestyle alone is like trying to empty the ocean with a bucket. And I was like,
time to change doctors.
well, at the time I was like 2 more years on the medication.
Oh.
I stayed with him. And then eventually in a meditation one day, in a morning meditation one day, it came to me, like it literally just came to me to get online, and there's something out there to find it. So I went online, I stopped the meditation in the middle, I stopped the medication too, but the meditation in the middle. And I did a lot of research, and it's very, very well-known protocol to help acid reflux in natural ways. It's not like it's this magical thing, but you got to know about it. And within 3 days of changing certain things, and by the way, taking acid with my meals.
Yeah.
Not acid
hydrochloric,
blocking.
right?
Right, hydrochloric acid with Pepsin. In 3 days, my acid reflux was gone after 12 years of that medication.
Oh my God.
So things like that obviously affected my kidney, and so I went in, I got an MRI, and because I knew something was off with my body, I insisted on it. I asked for 2 years. I finally got an MRI, and they found cancer that had been growing in me, they think, like between 8 and 10 years. It's very slow growing cancer. They also think because I was quite healthy that it didn't give it the energy to spread. So kidney cancer is quite manageable as long as it doesn't spread. Once it gets into your lymph nodes and your lungs, it's a very different diagnosis, unfortunately, for many. So my treatment was really surgery, and I happened to get an appointment pretty quickly with an amazing urologist that was able to go in laparoscopically with robots. That's why I got, if you see the pictures, like I got a little scar on my lower abdomen, that's where that's from. And that's where they took out the big chunk of my right kidney that was all cancer. And I get checked every year, and so far so good. And I'm gonna, like you say, doing everything that I can from my side to get ahead of, what the statistics say once a person has cancer, what the odds are. So I'm trying to, do my best to get ahead of it. Yeah.
And the functional health coach or Health 360, if someone gets a diagnosis, is that the time, can they start to get a health coach then? Like,
oh, sure. I mean,
do
listen,
you guys walk people through that journey?
Absolutely. But obviously, you want to talk to your doctor as well as a functional health coach, even though we have a whole medical division with functional doctors and registered nurses that help with a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that you'll get from your functional health coach around healing any type of situation. But, detoxification is a biggie and something that not a lot of people know how to do. And we're really advanced with that. But also talk to your doctor. I mean, obviously,
oncologist,
surgery, an oncologist, or, in my case, urologist, et cetera. Chemo, there's you want to make sure that you take care of yourself and you get all this. But absolutely, as far as, I don't know what I would have done without my coach. I really wouldn't. I know what I would have done. I would have continued to be so frustrated. I would have continued to be so uncomfortable and get sicker and sicker.
Type 2 diabetes is something else, like acid reflux in a matter of 3 days after 12 years. That's so frustrating and also very hope-inducing.
Yeah.
Type 2 diabetes has been known you can turn that around in a month or so time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything else that you're seeing in the functional health coach, like for people listening going, oh, maybe I'm a candidate, like
things like
common conditions?
So for instance, my partner in this is, like I said, is Vital Coaching, and specifically Vince Pitstick, who's my guy. He's my mentor.
Shout out to Vince.
Yeah, Vince is amazing. You should follow him on Instagram too. I can't remember the number, but women come to him with and have this past year, because Health 360 is still pretty early in its infancy, but healing PCOS, Hashimoto's, other type of autoimmune disease, women that can't get pregnant for years. And we heal them and look at what was, at the root of it. Got like 60 women pregnant in a very short amount of time that were coming to the next.
Hey, Vince.
Yeah,
hey.
Not Vince personally. Although I don't know, man. Vince, what are you up to? No, doing things like that people would never think working with a health coach would do. Like even my case of like allergies and asthma and acid reflux and all sorts of, whether it be minor level irritation, whether you just don't have the energy or the drive, or you're not able to lose that stubborn belly fat and you just say, oh, just because I'm getting older, it's normal. It is normal, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's because of these, we're high functioning people, Kelly. We got a lot going on. I know you do. And well, I just got debriefed on it. And over time, it wears on the body. And it just like I said, things like hormone, cortisol, thyroid function, gut health, inflammation, other things that over time just get worse and worse and worse. And so, then you're going to have a tougher time losing fat. You're going to have a tougher time building muscle. You're going to have a tougher time having energy, having a sex drive, all these things. Like, I would just encourage people to not give into that old, I'm just getting older. This is normal.
Yeah, definitely. Hormone replacement therapy and
Yeah.
Peptides. Let's talk peptides.
Yeah, sure.
I think you I don't know. How many do you do?
I mean, I got a fridge. If you open my fridge right now, I think I have more peptides than I do food. But I'm my own personal experiment. I always have been with all this. Like, I'm never out there just doing something because somebody says it. Like, I'll try it, I'll take note, I'll be aware of it. So, I mean, how much time do you have? I do things like
this feels overwhelming to me, but like I feel like with a functional medicine or functional health coach, and like I'm definitely going to sign up for a Health 360 because I just want to stay ahead of the game and tweak. And it's time. I finally have the mental emotional capacity after many years of not. To optimize. And so I'm really excited that you're here because it's always divine and perfect timing. But it does seem overwhelming, like all the things that we need to do. But I guess you guys can help us figure out what the priorities are. And then as we get used to it, we can build over time if we feel the necessity. You're an animal. You're a beast. You're a beast. You can handle 7 shots a day.
No, I do a lot of different peptides. But the idea with peptides is that they're branched chain amino acids. They're things that are naturally occurring in your body, 2 or more of these proteins, branched amino acids. And by taking them exogenously, like through usually a subcutaneous injection, like you usually use an insulin needle, all you're doing is signaling your body to function more in those ways, to be more optimal in those ways, whether it's fat burning goals. I won't get into the list of peptides, but things like being able to burn fat. We know a lot about what they're called the GLP-1s, the semaglutide, the tirzepatide, the retatrutide. Those are the ones that people are sort of, the Kardashians made famous. But if done properly and utilized with lifestyle changes, they can be extremely helpful for blood sugar reasons, for longevity, etc. You can do ones for brain health. You can use ones to help balance and upregulate your immune system, gut health, tissue repair, muscle building. Mood, sex drive. Like, there's so many things that you could take a peptide, which again are naturally occurring in your body, and you're just taking them to signal these sort of different modalities in the body to upregulate. And you don't want to stay on them forever. Like, you kind of go on them and then you go off them because you want to stay sensitive to these things. Other sort of categories are things like NAD. You hear a lot about this mitochondrial energy and anti-aging, which is a really good one. That's one that I never go off. You don't become sort of like sensitive to that one. So I stay on NAD, a couple times a week. I'll do something like called glutathione, which is your master antioxidant. Mm-hmm. Again, because I have a tough time detoxifying. So I'll do a glutathione and hit the sauna. That'll help kind of with like flushing out a lot of toxins and staying healthy that way. There's a whole bunch. But all of these different ideas, again, your coach is, if you're part of something like this or whatever you got going on, your coach should be able to help you with, and you don't need all of it at once at all. Just start changing, some lifestyle things, maybe some diet, start moving a little bit. Eventually we'll do some testing and see like where you're at hormone wise. Maybe you're a good candidate for HRT once, things like that just over time. And you never, ever, ever want to jump into all these at once and make it feel overwhelming. Just little baby steps. And that's also why this is a long-term kind of goal. You want to be able to use your coach. And even if you don't stay with your coach more than for 3 months, you want to learn enough that this is something that you incorporate in your life, like moving forward, so that you have more information, more experience. It's not a 21-day challenge.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So I was thinking as you're talking about all these, I know these peptides cost money and to have a health coach is like a luxury. But you said like, oh, maybe you just use it for 3 months to get the information, the
Sure.
feedback,
Absolutely.
the habit reformation, and then you can go forward. Like if that's what's in your budget. So talk to me how
Sure.
it's like structured a little bit and how accessible it is.
Yeah. So basically, we offer a 3 months to sign. I signed on for 3 months, and I've been using a coach for over 4 years. As I said, because of my experience with it. But not everybody's got $500 a month or whatever it is, depending on where you go. It can be a lot more than that with these coaches to spend on this, and I get that. And it used to kind of trigger me a little bit when people would say, "Well, you spend a little bit money on your health now in a preventative way, and it'll save you so much money in the future, preventing you from getting sick and as you get older and et cetera." And it used to kind of it used to annoy me a little bit because I was like, I'm not going to get sick. And then I got sick. And then I realized, like, man, I wish I had incorporated some of these ideas a little bit earlier and made little investments. So when and if people are able to so it's a monthly fee with your coach. You check in with your coach every week or as often texting wise as you need to. There's a Google Drive that you share where you enter daily information when you can. Things like how much water are you drinking? How many steps are you getting? How much sleep did you get? How's your stress level? Like you'll go through periods, preferably, where you're counting your macronutrients, protein, carbs, fat. So you get an idea, just so you get an idea. You don't have to do it forever. So you have an idea of how much you're consuming. I love that stuff, so I'm all about it. But
do you do like HRV or like a glucose monitor?
Yeah, that's part of that Google Drive is what's your HRV. That's your heart rate variability. It's an indication of sort of recovery and stress and ability and your resilience in a way. At least that's how I think of it. And so you have all these things that your coach is seeing, you're sharing with them. You send in progress photos. So you got to get in your bikini or something and show front, side, and back. And just so the coach can see inflammation, see shape, things like that. Because that's actually a big indicator on how people are changing. And you're not just looking at the physique for the point of physique. You're looking at the physique because it is a good indicator of your overall health. So that, you check in every week with your coach. You have Zooms with Vince himself every once in a while. So because he's kind of like everybody's mentor and coaching. He's coaching doctors. He's coaching nurses. He's got his whole metabolic mentor university. He's the man. So you check in with your coaches. You've got this Google Drive that you share with them. They're there at your beck and call if you got questions. They lay out your nutrition plan as detailed as you want it to be, your workout plan as detailed as you want it to be, or you tell us what you like to do to work out and we'll work around it because I know people have things in place already that they love. And we're just trying to figure out, what your plan is and how we can adapt and manipulate to help you be more optimal.
Path of least resistance, highest results.
Yeah.
That's genius. And I think the accountability factor is probably
it is. That's
the
a big
value. Like just to even like take photos, you're like, it makes you make that harder choice a little easier because you're like, oh God, I got to get in the bikini and take this damn photo tomorrow morning, Or
when you're checking in, or you've got to enter that stuff in the, in the Google Drive. You don't have to, but as often as you can, and you're kind of like, oh man, this was a bad sleep night or whatever, or
Yeah, and I literally am addicted to cheese. It's probably like a real. I need to go to Cheese Anonymous or whatever. But
I mean, if you're going to be addicted to something,
it's so good. I pick high quality sources, but if I had someone to be accountable where I actually had to confess how much cheese I eat on the daily, I would be like, oh, maybe I would choose for an apple instead. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I'm going to definitely do this. Okay, cool. So that's exciting. I'm very excited. I need to also...
You've been very supportive and Kelly's been very helpful to kind of get this off the ground as far as just encouraging me because I see all the stuff that you do, but thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it's coming from a genuine place. You really want people to feel as good and have the health transformation that you did. Again, seemingly pillar of health 15, 20 years ago, but now you're actually vital and healthy and
1,000%.
Your biological age has gone down and you want to spread the love.
I do. I really do. Yeah. It's my passion, as you know.
Yeah. And I need to up my game. So you're giving me the easy way to do it.
You're doing pretty good, but we can talk if you have questions.
Yeah. Awesome. To switch gears and talk a little bit about stress and cortisol, because we mentioned that. That's obviously a big part of root cause of a lot of people's health issues right now, chronic health conditions, unprocessed trauma. we met maybe 6 weeks before the fires. And then we shared that experience. You on the eastern end and me on the western. I was in the Palisades, you were in Altadena. I think I had the better end of the stick, even though I lost everything I own, because you have older children who are now in college, a house with decades of memories and all of that sentimental stuff within it. You know, I lost some heirloom jewelry and stuff from my grandparents and other things, but my child's young. We didn't have all the memories, you know, in that house. We were renting the house. So I know you've come out with it before in different media outlets and stuff, but maybe talk about, because you're monitoring your stress, like how have you navigated it? What has proven to be the best tools that you've used to process this? Because I feel like it's kind of an unprocessable situation. It's just weird for all of us. So what's worked for you? What are you noticing? Are your stress levels still kind of high?
Yeah, well, it's something that I continue to struggle with as far as, you know, we were talking about HRV and the general stress and cortisol issues. And they got ramped up like crazy in January after the fires, to your point. And to be completely honest, this one, you know, in my list of these big life challenges that I've been through, this one really kind of set me off track a little bit. From the perspective that it was, as you know, and as so many thousands of people know, it was so logistically, financially, and emotionally overwhelming. It just consumed so much of me that it was almost like I let it get away, you know, like I let my peace get away. Something that I worked so hard for to work on that. And I knew it was happening, but I was almost like, can I swear?
Please.
I was almost like, fuck it. Like, I'm done.
If your house burns down,
Yeah.
you can swear.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
no, I know. I feel you.
what really, and so to your point, like lots of stress, no matter what I was trying to do as far as managing it and getting to sleep and all the things that I was doing. But the things that helped me the most is my spiritual life, and specifically whatever your sort of faith is, coming at it with a mind of deep acceptance, like really truly getting to a place and training in real patient acceptance. Like this, you know, there's a part of my mind, and I think a part of all of our minds when we go through something traumatic, where there's like this resistance. This can't be happening. I can't believe this can be. Like, this was a bit of an unimaginable occurrence for us and for many. It was just one of the things you didn't think you'd have to worry about in your life. And so there's that, you know, that rejection of a situation that's reality. And so one of my my inner work on this was to really accept it. It's happened. This is happening. And from that place, it allows you to be first of all, a lot more peaceful, and also a lot more solution oriented. So, you know, that was one of the ways that I would really kind of just sit and really be there. And actually, it's incredible the effect it has on your mind, and the effect that it has on your perception of a situation. Because all we have is our perception of the world and our situation. That's all we have. There's no situation outside ourselves without our perception of it. You know, there is, but you know what I mean? So that's all we have. And so if you change your mind, you change your perception of the situation. And that's what I was trying to work on, because obviously there wasn't a lot I could do externally, and whatever there was, we were doing. So patient acceptance. Another big one for me was compassion. It's so easy to kind of zoom in. There's what about me, mine? I can't believe this happened to me. And that's obviously something that happens, and we got to deal with ourselves and what we're going through. But zooming out and thinking about others that are going through exactly the same thing or worse out there, and maybe they didn't have some insurance. You know, we had some, which was great. You know, like some people had great insurance, some people had no insurance and just lost everything without any. So just to really like have that mind, and compassion is such a, as many people know, such a beautiful, powerful mind. It's you know, by contemplating what others are struggling with, it you know, it connects you with them. It makes you feel more loving and connected, and makes you want to help them and pray for them, and has an unbelievably powerful effect on your mind. And then again, once you kind of have that effect on your mind, it changes your perception of what's going on outside. So these are two things. And then the third one, which is a pretty popular technique, is really looking at the enormous amount of things to be grateful for. Gratitude, just looking through that filter of gratitude was a very, and is, these are all things that I continue to work on, because it's very easy to get off track, man. It's so funny how quick it is to get negative, and how kind of like you got to like pull yourself back to get into that sort of virtuous, peaceful, more productive way of thinking, at least for some of us. So those are things that have helped me and continue to help me as well as others, of course. But that's my main practice.
And were you able to like emotionally release? Meaning, I know, men, it would be easy to go like to frustration and anger because of the overwhelm of just logistics that you had to deal with.
Yeah.
But grieving, like, you're a sensitive guy.
Yeah.
How were you, were you able to move that emotion, or is that not hit yet? Or does
Yeah, it's a very good question, because I have these, meditation and really incorporating these beautiful, virtuous states of mind in my meditation practice is a huge, huge part of my life. Huge part of my life. It has been for decades, way before this. And oftentimes what can happen is you're so quick to go to the antidote, or the, what makes you feel better, which is important to do, because obviously, but you also have to feel it. You got to feel it. You got to grieve. You've got to feel it. You got to be there. You got to recognize the sadness, the fear, the like you say, the anger, the disbelief, all of it. And I'm not great with that. I'm better, but it'll come out sideways. Like, even talking about it, I'm sort of fighting. Like, there's still a lot of work to be done there for me. And, I have people much wiser than me that have taught me all of this. And one in particular, who's a really important man to me, and he's just an incredible, wise person, has really encouraged me to just grieve. Just sit and feel it and grieve and cry. And there's been plenty of crying and grieving, but more when it comes out sideways, which isn't always the best.
I know.
You don't know where you are. Like, I'm
know.
gonna do it right now. But yeah,
Let
no,
it
that's
out. Let
my
it out,
work.
Cam.
That's my work. And I think, I'm just still, I'm still going through that, because I've had a lot to grieve in the last 4 years or so.
Oh, I know.
So, as I know you have to.
Yeah. But I think that's a good point. Like, even before you came over, I was like hyped up on just everything that was going on. I was like, I got to go and breathe and like try. I was just like consciously trying to calm myself down. And in hindsight, it's like, really, I just need to sit with these feelings rather than go straight to like our default of like, we have all these tools, let's shift our state. It's like, oh, actually, we just need to like sit in it for 5 minutes without judgment or explanation, and just like feel where it is in our body and drop in and just like feel and experience the discomfort.
I think that's such a great distinction, because I think what can happen, at least in my experience, is if we do allow ourselves to sit and feel like you're talking about, you can spiral, and it won't be 5 minutes, it'll be 5 days. But when you use that investigation, not you, but when one uses that investigation to kind of like look at the body, where does it feel in the body, or where are the feelings in the mind? Like, try to examine them. Where are they coming from? What's like, to really use that experience of feeling things and examining it in a more productive way, instead of, I would say, dwelling and exaggerating and letting your mind create, which is my struggle, as we've talked about, letting your mind create these worst case scenarios. And then you're kind of like lost in this little spiral and you're gone. And it's much harder to pull yourself. I use the analogy of like a huge stone ball at the top of a hill. And it's like, when it starts to roll over, it's so much easier just to kind of like hold it right at the top. Like, you catch it right away. You're aware of it. But once that thing gets momentum and starts going down the hill,
just going to crush you if you try to stop it.
and yeah, exactly right. And it does often, but yeah, that's a beautiful way to examine and to sit and to feel, is to, either look at where it's appearing in your body, or actually trying to investigate where are they coming from, what are the nature of these feelings, and then you'll start to see that they're actually hard to find. They're not fixed. They're like ever changing, and they come and they go like clouds in the sky of your mind, and they're there and you're recognizing them, but they, just like a cloudy day, it's going to clear and you're going to be left with
Yeah.
things like that. You can have these little tools.
Yeah. My exercise was a phone conversation threw me off.
Okay.
And I was like, I did a podcast interview, then I did this solo podcast, which is always weird because you're in a vacuum and you don't know if you're acting like a schizophrenic when you're just like rambling. And Max is watching. I'm like, do I sound crazy? Max is the producer in the room. Shout out to Max. We love him.
Max. Silver Lake in the house.
And I was like, why am I'm like, I'm not keyed up from coffee, although, that would be likely a few hours earlier. Cameron is coming over. I'm not stressed about that because you're lovely and I know would make me feel at peace, but I'm like, I am thrown off. So I went upstairs to try and calm myself down, and I just breathed and I told myself, okay, I'm safe. I kind of felt like in the investigative process, like, okay, that phone conversation threw me off because I've been so like pie in the sky about this, and the kind of like didn't give me the answer that I wanted to hear, and I was just like, that throws me off of my magic, and my flow. I don't feel like I'm in flow. So just even that awareness. But for most of us, when we're feeling anxious, thrown off track, any sort of feeling of discomfort, we will go and scroll. We will
numb out.
Distract, numb out, escape. And so I'm really trying to just feel and close my eyes and like turn off the extra stimulation actually, and just like go, okay, I'm bring safety back to my body. Maybe have that curious investigation of like, why am I feeling? What triggered me to feel this way? And then just be with it and just like, I'm safe. And like, how can I come back to the present moment? Cameron's coming over. Oh, that's it. Like, I'm just going to be in my heart and be with Cameron and know that he's just like a great antidote to this anxiety, So it worked out.
It's such a beautiful thing to share. That's so skillful. And like, if there's one takeaway from this conversation, maybe it's that, everybody. That's really beautiful. And it's so true. And it's great that like, it's almost like we use these triggers. If we do use these triggers to kind of like to do more self-exploration, understand where it's coming from, or what insecurities or what attachment we have to a certain plan, or and then it just becomes much more manageable, and that's really skillful.
I think you obviously studied Buddhism for decades, you said, and you have your practices. You are now kind of optimized your health. So obviously we know if we are feeling good, we can think better, and we have the mental capacity to like employ these processes we just talked about. A lot of people, if they're not feeling good, they don't even have the capacity to do that self-exploration or pull themselves out of anxiety because it just spirals. Like that's the boulder going down the mountain because they don't have the resilience.
Yep.
And so that's why I think something like Health 360 is so important, to get your baseline. When you feel better, you do better, you think better, you are open to so much more, like mental health. If you have a good foundational physical health, your mental health is a lot easier to tweak and play with.
It's so true. And I think obviously it works vice versa too. When your mental health if you're peaceful and calm and clear and happy, and you've got all this beautiful, like, ways of thinking in your mind, then your physical health usually is also a reflection of that on some level. But to your point, getting your body healthy and fit and energized and focused, and it's has an enormous effect on your mental health for sure.
I was told in my prep that you have a philosophy of like 4 F's. Do you want to talk about that?
System.
Yeah. Do you still go by that? I loved it.
We do. Yeah. So the Health 360's got the 4F. So we talked about it being very individualized. So this is regardless of what your specific goals and challenges or specific things you have going on, the program and working with your coach will be very individualized, but it's within the structure of the 4F system. So the first one is a flush, and so it goes flush, feed, foundation, fast, and not everybody needs all of it, but they're there for very specific reasons. The flush, it's not a fast. In fact, most likely will be upping your calories in the flush. Very nutrient-dense foods, very specific eating pattern and timing and diet plan. So you got to really prepare for this flush. It's a 2 to 3 week part of it that people that have tried everything, that are, let's say, in the fitness world and whatever, have gone through this 4F system, and they say that piece is the piece that's missing out there. And that is basically like trying to paint a beautiful picture, but already over another painting. Like, it's a way to reset your nervous system. You flush out inflammation, you upregulate your metabolism, you ease your cortisol, upregulate thyroid, flush out your liver and toxins, ease gut health. So that's what that first 2 to 3 week period is. No coffee or alcohol, people. Oh. That's the hardest part. Alcohol obviously is easy for me. Well, obvious to you. But no coffee that's a tricky one. But it's that cortisol effect. So coffee, caffeine typically has an artificial stimulant on your cortisol levels, on your stress levels. So just to flush that all out. So that's the first one. Then feed. And that's when we continue to up your calories. We continue to upregulate your metabolism. We continue to shift and adjust things specific to your goals. Believe it or not, so we had a client, for instance, when I talk about upping your calories, and people are like, no,
like, this is very counterintuitive. Yeah.
We had a client, a very, very high functioning person, well-known person, that was on about 700 to 900 calories a day, doing cardio 5 days a week and not losing weight.
Oh,
that's what I talk about.
It's frustrating.
It's over time down regulating your metabolism. Like, she was shot and also highly stressed. We now have her at 2,000 calories a day. She's exactly the same weight, and her whole shape has changed, tighter waist, stronger, leaner, but exactly the same weight. And so you tell, like, the whole
and
calorie
enjoying life because she can
thing,
actually eat.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just that. So anyway, flush, feed. Foundation is when we get really specific with your goals. Maybe that's when we kind of get some peptides in there. Maybe we get some HRT, some hormone replacement therapy, things like that. Training modalities can shift. Now you're healthy. Now your body's gone through the flush, started again. You've fed up a little bit. You're starting to get all these nutrients, and you're digesting better. You got more energy, and then you're gonna get into this foundation, which is really specific to you and your goals. And then once you hit your stride, we will likely, if it works and if it makes sense, incorporate some fasting technology in there. There's a lot of hype about fasting, and there's a lot of people that use it for losing weight and do things with fasting that can actually be hurting you more than been helping you. I'll just give you a little hint. If you're using fasting, try not to do the same window every day. Try to change it up, keep your body guessing. That's a biggie, and your fast is typically only as good as your feast, because if you're fasting and cutting calories in your feeding window, that's going to shut your metabolism down in a real hurry. So now you're not eating, and then you're like, oh, I feel good. I'm not eating. You've got to really try to get those calories in, get those nutrients in your feeding window, and then change up that fasting window so your body's always guessing, and it can really change things like never before. Yeah.
That's why working with a health coach and having them on call is so important, especially in this first window of the 4Fs, and it can change everything. It makes so much sense.
It really can. Yeah. It's a phenomenal system. It really is.
All right. Well, another F, family. Oh, I'm going to let you wrap up on your kids being the joy of your life. I don't know if you want to, you're such a good dad. I'm sure that's probably your greatest role.
It is, for sure. Easily, hands down.
What's your best piece of parenting advice, since you're a little farther ahead in the game than I am?
I am quite a bit farther ahead than you are, but we won't get into that. Again, my best piece of parenting advice. That's a really good question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. I would say, it seems pretty obvious, I suppose, but just to, I'll say this: that when I had kids way back, I was really living a relatively selfish lifestyle. It was all about me all the time. I was kind of in this industry, a lot of attention on you, the spotlight, and it was a very me kind of attitude. And I'm sure people watching you don't really struggle with that as much. But when I had kids and I was able to begin to turn that focus, that spotlight off self, and really deeply care about others far more than you even care about yourself in a beautiful, loving way. It was the best gift for them, but also, for me as well. So I guess my answer to that would be to really cherish them deeply and just set aside time and make it a priority to be in their lives. And also, I got him, tried to get him into sports and this and that and the other thing. And we've talked about this. And there are a couple of artists. They're both, in a totally different, I mean, I guess technically I am too, but you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I just nurture and cherish and expose them to as many things as I possibly can, and then support them wholeheartedly in whatever they choose to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was on the spot. I've never been asked that.
That was really
I
beautiful.
hope I don't like watch that again and be like, dude, you should have said that.
Well, I always wake up and I'm like, dang it, I should have said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know. Riley is like, my whole life I played soccer and I'm like a sports nut, so I'm like, and I literally am like, she's probably gonna love horses and like dance, two things I know nothing about, but I love. And she's great at dance and she's like so girly and she's refuses to play soccer because the shin guards are bad fashion. So she's very different from me in a lot of ways.
That is so cute.
But it's very quickly as a parent, you think these things are going to bother you. And then you're just like, no, you just want to embrace them and who they are and then support them in nurturing those gifts that they so clearly have and those passions that they have.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I will say, I wonder, I'm a big talker over here. I wonder how I'd be if they weren't skiers. That's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's like my kind of, I don't know, my ride or die. But, it also has provided unbelievable time together, like incredible bonding experiences to teach them both how to ski and travel around the world and ski with them and do things like that.
Yeah. That's
if they were like, nah, Dad, I don't want to ski, then I'd be like,
yeah. I know.
like,
I know.
Yeah.
I once heard an interview. I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but this real staunch person that was in the, conventional medical, establishment and by trade and background. And then she learned about vaccines and she's like very anti-vaccine and anti-medication. It's like she swung totally the other direction. And she was being interviewed about her parenting and how like conscious she was about her parenting. And like, I was just listening to how she works with her daughters and like screens or whatever. And then the interviewer asked like, well, what if your daughter said, I want to get the COVID vaccine, and she like lost her shit. She was like, consciousness went out the window.
That's all
she was
of
like,
us. That is all of us.
Absolutely not. I would never let them because
Right.
she was all about anti-control of your kids.
Sure,
and then
sure,
this
sure. Then she was
the
like,
one
oh,
trigger issue comes up. And
That's a great example of it.
Isn't that funny?
When
Yeah.
it's like that core root.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So I was like, interesting. I wonder what that would be for me.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I feel like the kids come in and often do the thing that's going to trigger us the most,
That's our work. Yeah,
God
that's
help
part of
us.
our work. Yeah,
God
for
help
sure.
us.
That's right.
but
It's going to happen many times. Get ready.
I know.
Get ready.
I can't.
I've been through it on both
All
sides
right.
for a while.
Well,
Yeah.
thank God. I'm going to call you. Thank you for coming.
thank you for
Where
having
can
me.
people find out more about Health 360 and sign up? And
Join health360.com is the website. You can also get the link on my Instagram, which is at Cameron Mathison. You can check it out there. And by the way, I mean this sincerely. If it's not my functional health coaching program, there's others out there that are amazing. I just really would recommend it to people.
yeah,
I really would.
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's you've been through a lot, and I'm just so happy to see you come out the other side shining and flexing and
You too.
slaying life.
I
Yeah.
can say the same thing about you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.